Sai, we are good to go?
Yes, Amrit, we are good to go. Thank you.
Sure. So, ma'am, I'll give a quick introduction about you and then we can start.
Sure.
So, good evening all. MBA IIT Kanpur welcomes Ms. Asha Subramanian, Senior Director, GoIbibo Group, where she manages and drives the entire workforce of GoIbibo's HR's operation globally. And as we know, GoIbibo Group houses three of the largest travel platforms, GoIbibo, MakeMyTrip, and Redbus. With over 17 years of experience, she's an expert in technology talent management. She would be sharing her thoughts today over the topic aligning business and talent in work from home culture. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thanks a lot. Hi, guys. Good evening.
Good evening.
Ma'am. Good evening.
Good
Thanks
evening.
a lot. Thanks a lot.
Good evening,
That's pretty
ma'am.
encouraging. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we can go to the next slide. We'll start off. So how much time do I have overall?
Ma'am, we can take 1 hour for the session and then for question answer.
Okay, probably I'll try to finish it. I'm sure you guys had another session today, right, on the marketing. So like, you know, I'll not probably bug you. And this is a good representation of what exactly you guys are feeling, like, you know, from 3 months, right? Like webinars, how many more webinars, right? Okay, let's go to the next one. So this phrase, change is the only constant. This phrase has never been more apt before, right? Over the last few months, people and industry across the world has been forced to face a new reality altogether. The pandemic has not only impacted our health, but the way we work, the functioning of the industries and the global economy as a whole. Generally, we've seen the business uncertainty existing in landscape, right? But those ambiguities have amplified over the last few months, at least like, you know, last 3 to 4 months. The IT industry definitely has faced the brunt of this in both India and global content. So that is why probably I would like to sum up that, like, you know, change is the only constant thing what we can probably look at this time, right? Next one. So the topic what's being given is like, you know, how we are aligning our employees to the business. So we look at holistically this entire thing, and the focus area would be on physical well-being and intellectual growth and the emotional support, what we are giving at this point to every employee, right? How to align talent with business and work from home culture. Obviously, as a corporate, like, you know, we will look at this in all areas, where how we can align the employees to the final impact which organization or an employee can create. To start off with, let's look at few problems which actually can be staggered for work from home for all the employees, right? There's been like, you know, we be looking at 3 to 4 months and like, you know, talking to few employees, talking to industry experts, like, you know, these are few problems which I feel like, you know, are big time, which needs to be focused and which needs to be answered. Becoming stressed by unmanageable or uncontrollable working hours, right? Taking less care of personal hygiene and fitness, always sitting, always working, always on the Zoom call, always on the phone calls, loneliness and lack of human interaction. So I'm like, you know, literally each of the employees are locked for 8-9 hours working. And in offices, what happens, we talk to people, like, you know, we go out with teams for coffee, tea, other things, right? But over here, you just lock yourself and you're doing everything on your own. And prioritizing work and time zone differences, technology hiccups, how to avoid time management doom, blurred line between, like, you know, your personal and professional life, reduce directions. They're like, you know, you probably sometimes cannot get proper direction, which needs to be prioritized, what needs to be done, in what way, right? Because you don't have people whom you are working physically present. And communication challenges. And there can be sometimes unclear performance metrics also. So social isolation, motivation and lack of long-term vision, less chances to upskill. So these are all the few problem areas which each one of us face, may it be senior or junior, anybody in the organization, because like, there is, you are for a long time, like, if in case it is 1 or 2 days in a week and you work from home and you go back to office, you still have a direction, you still have a vision. But this is like, continuously for 4.5 months of complete isolation from the office. So these are the few challenges which industry experts have come out that, like, employees are facing. Talking on behalf of entire corporate who are taking holistic approach to help employees to cope up this situation, right? And also coming out strong. So what are the solutions which they are thinking and which they are implementing, which is actually like, yielding good results? Looking at a physical and emotional well-being of an employee, there's a lot of new things what they are coming online, like, may it be online games like PUBG, Counter-Strike and other things, going social programs, coffee break with teams, again a virtual coffee break, throwing fitness challenges which are online, online yoga, Zumba sessions to keep them physically fit. So like, when you are doing the yoga with your teammates, you again, like, you feel spruced up, you feel like doing it, right? And virtual team-wise family catch-ups to make it more social and make it like an extended family kind of thing. Counseling session to manage the long working hours and the solitude what a lot of employees are facing. Virtual team parties, celebrating virtual birthdays, work anniversaries, new joinee introductions, etc. Everything online. And happy hours on one of the day in the week, maybe on a Thursday or a Friday, like, 2 hours, wherein a person can exhibit his skills or his hobbies, maybe a guitar or singing, antakshari, and a lot of other things, everything. So like, these are few things which we are trying to take care of from the physical and emotional perspective. When you look at the intellectual part, how do we take care of an intellectual aspect of an employee online, right? It becomes a bit of challenging for HR or any organization. But still, because like, this has become the new normal. So what we have done, or entire industry has like, come out with a lot of new initiatives which are pretty interesting, in fact. So few of them can be like, making employees to be innovative, may it be give ideas on their products, work on new technology, like hackathon weeks, Thinkster week, sharing ideas to diversify the business, online idea forums, put on their thinking hats and can help in gathering many productive ideas, right, to plug our existing platform, especially in this hour of work from home, right? And creating unique rewards and recognition programs. The company is trying to create these unique rewards and recognition because there is no physical contact, which like, which can be little more creative and innovative. These would be like, few of the awards which has made impact, like impact creator of the week, impact creator of the month, e-cards or kudos cards, which like, can be sent through the mail, thank you cards, well done cards, appreciation mails from senior folks in the company to the employees, right? It always makes a lot of difference when there is a small appreciation mail telling that you've worked really hard and you've brought in reliability to the product, you've brought in a huge impact to what you are doing, right? And also building continuous learning culture, may it be through webinars, like the way how it's happening for you people, by leaders within the organization, and weekly tech talks, business specific talks, online AMA, Ask Me Anything session by leaders and senior folks, encouraging employees to do online courses to upskill and upgrade themselves, right? Showing path on their organic growth in the organization. This helps in retention and also motivate them. Sometimes, like, because you're working from home, you would also have a very blurred vision on what's going to happen to your career path tomorrow. So giving a regular update, like, how he can probably grow organically within the company, can help a good employee, like, an impactful employee to get retained and also motivate himself. Also, a meaningful goal settings, right? The key, the key to manage a remote team successfully is surely, like, making sure that there is a clear-cut goal settings, set clear deliverables and specific metrics that will enable them to track outcomes and measure results effectively, right? And also a communication becomes extremely, like, challenging when it is work from home. So it's all more important that, like, you communicate more with your team. How much more? There is no limits, right? You can go on communicating probably from, like, top management to everybody, giving them, like, the company is working very hard to make sure that there is no attrition, there is, like, the business is going to continue, and all other kind of communication. And also, like, internally you have your Skype, Slack, Zoom, lot of other things. And also give long-term vision to the employees. These are few things which actually, like, the corporates are doing to make sure that employees are well aligned with the business. The last but not the least, encourage employees to upskill themselves. It's surely a great time for employees to learn, like, what they have always wanted to do. Great time for managers also to facilitate this, right? Many companies have invested e-learning platforms, and the employees are learning a lot of new skills. And they're also, like, learning, unlearning, and relearning and upskilling their existing skills and extra hours that they're getting, right, every day due to current situation because of work from home. So with all these things, and the last one, right, the work from home for the women, not being a racist over here, but, like, you all would agree with me that there are a lot of women who are, like, probably doing the office work and also taking care of their house, because of the domestic help is also not there. There are a lot of societies which are not allowing domestic help, and they have their children. So to take care of them, the corporates are also making sure that there is a particular, like, leisure time given to the women, 1 to 2 hours, so that they have their lunch, they take care of their family, they take care of their children and their spouses, and, like, all other people at home, which is an extremely, like, a generous thing in fact to do, and also a very beautiful thought from corporates. So these are all the things which, like, I probably thought would will help you guys to know what is going on with the corporates, how they're aligning their employees. Go to the next one. So this is again, like, categorized into employee happiness, employee engagement, and employee well-being, right? So there is, let me now try and tell you what is the trend which is going on, like, before we start off with what exactly the students need to do at this point and other things, right? So there are huge changes which are going through in the corporates, the new normal being the work from home, right? And virtual interviews have replaced the in-person discussions, and restrictions on geography has now been removed. There is, like, probably a person who's sitting in Bangalore or in Delhi and working for Europe or maybe for Valley, right? A lot of cost cutting in every possible way is going on. A lot of new projects which felt lucrative before COVID may not hold good now due to the circumstances, right? And alternate verticals, businesses, new ideas have been, like, emerging, and companies are trying to do new things at this point. And surely the senior management has taken a strong beating due to huge salary cut and redundancy at this point. Right? Many jobs and job families have seen redundancy and have also got merged. So because I come from an HR background, let me also give you 1 or 2 things what's going on with regard to the HR field. with regard to recruitment, onboarding, jobs, retention, attrition, and other things. Recruitment process are surely adopting to new social distancing. Job interviews cannot be handled face to face. Everything is a virtual, totally become virtual presently. And onboarding new employees is totally remote. We are living like extraordinary times, but we still have new employees at companies who we need to onboard, right? It is not so simple to provide a great onboarding experience without meeting face to face. Yet we're trying to make this possible with team meetings, with having them buddies within the team, like, having virtual coffee sessions with these people. So making sure that getting their laptops to their house, making sure that whatever is possible to make them special and happy that they have joined that particular company. And layoffs, I'm sure everywhere it is going on, and presently people are also little apprehensive to join new jobs because they feel that this is not the right time to get into another organization, maybe because they might not get settled. Right? So these are all the industry trends which is going on at this point. Go to the next one. Okay, so as I told you, collaboration will move completely into online, get acquainted with remote tools like Zoom, Slack, Trello, etc. And yeah, take a step back and reflect, panic, and do not panic. Panic because the situation looks really bad with the job market, or maybe getting new jobs, or the health wise overall, right? The emotional, physical, all of it. But don't panic, because probably this is a situation to really come out as a winner, probably show that we are the strongest race, or probably strongest people who have lived in last 100 years, because I don't remember my parents or my grandparents have any time told me something like this, where they never went out of the house for about 90 days or 100 days. So let's not panic and take it more stronger, right? And upskilling is surely the key factor. And learning and data science will impact surely all the business, and upskilling yourself in those fields will help you. Do not be rigid with your choices, and I feel focusing on your area where your learning potential is maximum, right, should come in, and money can surely come later. Okay, again, let's get to this part of it. Probably this is something which will be more closer to the student, is what I feel. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So guys, this is a few areas which I have segregated, opportunities which actually has scaled up in this time of COVID, and where opportunities can be reinvented. So opportunity to scale, which is already scaled in this 3 to 4 months, is FMCG. There's a huge market for FMCG where people who would like to get into jobs can probably look at this. And health and physical, I'm sure each one of you would agree with me. And the organic food, the people have really got more health conscious, and slowly are getting into eating good and eating rightfully, mindfully, right? And physically delivery businesses, because people cannot go in person, and marriage consultations, because there's a lot of people sitting at home, and they are together for 3-4 months, which has never happened in decades. And obviously there are a lot of marriage counselors who would get into this kind of place, and if there's any issues with the families, right? Package industries and online education, if you look at it, lot of offline have got into completely transferred themselves into an online education, right? And all lot many other places which has actually scaled in 3 to 4 months. right? And opportunity there, probably we can reinvent is travel and transport, co-working places, pubs, malls, and theaters, which actually, like, probably is the saddest thing for each one of us. And petrol, we don't travel anymore. Catering services, security agents, schools, colleges, banks. These are all the areas where you can actually, like, reinvent a lot of new things into this. Okay, this is something which can I get some responses from people? Can you hear me? Is that anything? Or
Sure, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
you can hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yes,
hear
ma'am.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay. Thank you. Because I feel like, I'm going totally solo and I can't see anybody also. So this is something which I was thinking, like, would be probably a bit of useful for each one of you, or if in case you are in the first year, you can always, like, keep this in mind and, like, also share it with people whom you think do need it, right? So some tips how a candidate needs to prepare for a virtual interview. Right? So you make sure your internet connection and, like, the conferencing program both are working well, right? So that you don't have any kind of interference, and do this appropriately. So what happens is, like, oh yeah, this is a virtual thing, like, it's fine. I can probably be in my whatever I'm wearing, right? In my tees or something. So please dress smartly. Like, probably an in-person interview today, I'm not able to see because there is about 100 people sitting that side, or probably only you are able to see me, right? But it is one-on-one, and, like, we as an HR people or the people who interview, we will surely make sure that we will look at a person. If in case he's really interested, he's given his a bit of importance to also look tidy, look presentable for the interview. All this shows that overall the person is looking forward to work with this organization, right? And do your homework, prepare just as or, like, for any other interview, rehearsing your responses, right questions, preparing questions, and answering them in a proper structured way. That is very important. And what happens sometimes is, like, because we've done so many interviews, we look at especially in Zoom calls and other things, there's absolutely, like, lack of eye contact. So make sure that, like, you have a good eye contact, generally engage with the interviewer to show that you're quite keen, that like, you are enthusiastic to take up the interview. And make sure that, like, there is no distractions, your cell phones are not ringing, or, like, some kids are not running behind you, or TV is not switched on, or you don't have any other gadgets next to you. So get yourself, lock yourself in a room which is calm and with right light, right? And also make sure that you have a follow up with the people who has interviewed you. So this shows not necessary that, like, you go on asking them, what is the feedback? What is the feedback? Probably just tell them, like, how did the interview go, and what is the feedback you probably feel, where are the areas which you need to improvise. So you have a conversation over a mail, or maybe on a WhatsApp, or on a, like, directly calling them, so that they also feel that you are pretty interested in the things, right? So these are all the few things which probably, like, you can take it as an tips for going for an interview, virtual interview. So these are a few things which, like, were at these pandemic stage, how the companies are, like, taking up innovation and diversifying their business and making sure that they sustain and grow in this kind of a situation also. So for example, like, India's largest travel aggregator announced a new business vertical, right? Make My Trip, the company where I come from, actually now delivers food from five-star hotels, right? It's jumped into food delivery, a business that continuously to be hot even during this lockdown. And it's rolled out the online gourmet delivery service and partnership with all the premium hotel chains and independent properties across cities. So this shows like, the companies are diversifying their business and like, not sitting static and making sure that they still continue with the business and like, keep their employees pretty happy. And the previously, I also showed like, the Arogya Setu also, the GoIbibo, again, the company which I come from, GoIbibo and Make My Trip. It also like, there was a very small idea which came up from vice president, and he was just going through a particular Twitter update which had the initial two people who were affected by COVID, and it also showed the graph where all these people had gone. That is where the Arogya Setu idea came in, and about 16 to 17 engineers sat for about 3 months, 16 days initially, and made sure that they launched Arogya Setu. And like, 3 to 4 months, they're still updating new features and other things. So there is a huge innovation which is coming from each of the company to make sure that like, they're diversifying the business and also sustaining. And lot of, as I told you, like, a lot of online, offline situations are getting into online, right? And Swiggy, Zomatos, which are started home delivery of alcohol. All of this shows like, how companies are actually making sure it's not only the sustenance of employees, but also we have to look at the companies also, right? So the world surely produced the best during tough times, right? The WhatsApp, Uber, Pinterest, Slack, Square, Make My Trip. All these companies got created in 2000 and 2008 crisis. So like, make sure that you have an idea and go and do not feel shy or do not feel apprehensive to go and try it out. Just go and build it, right? Okay. So now coming, there are a few tips which also like, which can be used for each one of you, right? So if you are a student, it is not like any other times now. Now it is very a time where probably you have to like, double yourself, upskill yourself. Probably yesterday it was 10%, today it is 110%. That is how you need to upskill yourself, right? This Glassdoor blog and economic research site, which helps you to keep you informed and get noticed by recruiters across the industry. So probably you can have a look at it, right? And leverage your college and university career services. So because you also belong to this, you're part of this. So I'm also telling that this is going to be very useful for you. And also you can help the students, being the management, you can also help the students. And like, having a standout resume and cover, right, makes very, very huge impact at this point. Probably like, initially previously what we used to do, we used to have one particular resume and one particular cover page and send it across. Today it doesn't work. Each industry, like, studying what is each industry getting into and what are their interests and other things, studying that and making sure implementing that in our cover page and resume will help a lot. It will also show that you are interested in that company, right? And search for companies that are launching virtual internship fairs. This is for students, like, freshers. Focus on gaining new soft and hard skills, making sure that like, you do not waste your time. The process is slower. Be patient. Yesterday it was possible for us to recruit a person within a day or two, but it probably like, spills to a week now, because it's all online and decisions kind of can get a little bit staggered. So please have patience, right? brush up your digital skills, identify your, like, what are your core skills, right? And also work out what are the companies which will suit you the best. Like, not necessarily all companies interest you, right? So make a note of it. List out skills which you can offer, right? Make everything physically, write it down. And like also use Google's job search feature also. And also sometimes what happens, especially in, like, colleges, A schools, you have a particular company in your mind, and like, you're very rigid. I have to join here. So probably, like, a little getting relaxed on that and approaching smaller companies also can help you at times. Right? The previous one after this. Okay, so this is something which, like, I generally tell it out, especially, like, for MBA students. So what happens? It's always a 10-year plan. What, like, students think next 5 years, this is what I'm going to do, right? Instead of single 10-year plan, create different path for your future. Consider parallel universes, one where a career risk works out well, another where it fails, right? An entrepreneur option, like, probably that would be amazing thing, right? And government jobs. I'm sure, like, we all have a smile when somebody talks. Why don't you try a government job? Because maybe our parents or grandparents, like, were in government jobs, and we getting into a government job, we don't even think that as an option, right? A lot of economists who have studied the 10-year Great Depression of our previous century, right, realize that holding a government job or a pension, having a pension, is one of the best security of income, stability, right? So thus, like, having a government career becomes great option for future, especially people who are in their 20s and, like, have just begun their career. I'm sure, like, 80%, 65% of you would be having 4 to 5 years of experience, and the rest of like, people are, but still I think nothing wrong in trying out a government job also, right? And online sales, customer support, online education, digital marketing, teaching, writing, design, and course coding, right? These are all the options which each one of you can look at. Apply to multiple jobs outside your current domain, switch geographies, industries, and function, right? And control the use of the time what you have. So this is probably, like, few tips which would come handy for each one of you. And surely my closing line over here would be, like, multi-skill is a must. At this point, each one of you having multi-skill is a necessity. It's no more a luxury today. Folks with people with tech background should look at a career option in area that are technology focused, right? Online services will only see a big boom post this lull. So please make sure that, like, if you have a good technology background, make sure that you focus on it and add up more courses to that. Keep a close eye on supply chain traction. It can be possible because of anti-China sentiments, right? And we should see a lot of new opportunities emerging in this sector also. And don't be rigid with your choices. Focus on area where your learning potential gets maximized. Money can surely come later, guys. So with this, I've taken about 40 minutes overall. So I will probably close on telling each one of you all the best, and, like, make sure that you use your time well, wisely, and have a good physical health, and also make sure that you add up more skills to whatever you have presently. And finally, make sure that whatever you are good at, make sure that you enhance that part of it. Thank you, guys. Now we can open it for questions.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll be
Now
taking up questions.
I can see some faces. This is
Arun has a question. Arun, you can go ahead.
Hi, ma'am. Good evening.
hi.
Ma'am, in the last slide, you mentioned about the strategic roles in the healthcare insurance. So can you just elaborate a bit on that part also?
Which one was this?
Strategic roles in the last slide. Strategic roles in the healthcare insurance sector.
Huh? So
Can you? Yeah.
what I meant was, let me go to that one second. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Can I know the question? Sorry.
Ma'am, in the last slide, there was it was written like the strategic roles in the healthcare insurance sector. So you mentioned about
Which
each and all.
last slide? No, which was this last slide?
In which, you mentioned about the different skills. A person should be a multi-skilled person, and the tech-focused people should look on the business analyst in that slide. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure in healthcare, if in case you have a drive in data or an artificial intelligence, right? Or in like supply chain, probably you can get in each one of it, right? And in HR and in finance. So any one of it, whichever you are specializing, healthcare is booming big time presently, the pharmacy and also the insurance part of it. So probably you can take one of it, and also make sure that if in case you feel that these are the industries which are going to boom and you see a good growth, probably you can start looking at a company which you can target and work towards and probably get into.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, Rishabh has a question. Rishabh, please go ahead.
Hi, ma'am. Good evening. Am I audible?
I can't hear properly. Yeah, Rishabh, tell me.
My question is, how should a student vary his or her approach for a technical interview and then a HR interview? Because I think this is what I feel, that both the type of interviews look for different things in a student. So how should we vary our approach to these interviews?
So, okay, there is technical interview becomes for me, an HR interview becomes more of checking on how a person is fit, how well he fits into the company. So over there, probably talking about your interest, about your attitude, about how well you would fit into that industry will get highlighted. But over technical interviews, obviously, right, you will be showing your the questioning skills, or your basic fundamentals, or how you would more pragmatic, and how logic you are towards a problem solving and other things. So probably there is a huge difference, and also the soft side of yours comes out in an HR interview, right?
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, Anshul has a question. Anshul, please go ahead.
Yeah,
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Hi, ma'am. I want to ask that, in current scenario, there has been a shift from working in offices to a virtual platform. So, what skill set basically would be different, like what HRs or what maybe industry would be looking differently in these virtual platforms? Like if we need to work from home scenario, then what skill sets are like more important in current scenario?
So surely, like, persistence, right? Like, people can kind of get frustrated, and to keep level headedness first thing. And also, like, because there is a lot of job families which are getting merged, right? So, like, having multiple skill sets and also enhancing yourself, right? And also because there is a social distancing, and there can be less of guidance at this point. So you probably at a office, you have a, like, you can probably go up to a desk of your managers or of your colleagues and talk to them, right? But at this point, every time you will not be able to pick up a phone and talk to them or take guidance. So, like, helping yourself and persistence, patience, listening skills, upskilling yourself, and also, like, having sanity. So it becomes extremely difficult, especially when, like, probably you are alone, and a lot of young people, right? A lot of young executives, and a full day working from morning 9 to until evening 7 or 8, and, like, always alone, you can kind of get really frustrated. So probably managing all these things is what is required, and also focus, having proper focus, and also having prioritization. So these are few things which are surely expected out of each of the employee who would like to create an impact, and also, like, who would like to continue the work from home process.
Thank you, ma'am. Also, another thing, like I feel like more self-reliant kind of thing is also what would be more demanded in this scenario.
Totally with you. I mean, ultimately, like, you have to focus yourself, you have to give directions to yourself, you have to manage your physical well-being, you have to manage your like, intellectual well-being and overall, right? So probably self-sustenance is the biggest thing. That's the mantra.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, Himanshu has a question. Himanshu,
Yeah.
you can go ahead.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, my question was directed more towards how engagement of certain specialists with the corporate is changing the HR dynamics. Like we see increasingly companies are hiring people who are specialists in fields for certain projects. We call it gig economy sometimes. Are the other parameters, HR parameters, like whether they fall into line with the company culture as such, do these parameters in such a scenario take a backseat, or are they equally important, play an equally important role in gig economy per se?
Himanshu, at this point, like, probably how many ever skills you get, right? Probably you are a coder plus an HR. You are probably a project manager plus an HR, a program manager plus an HR, a finance person plus an HR. Everything is going to add up to whatever you bring to this seat. Probably, like, if you can bear 4 to 5 hats, like, it would be a very big impact to the organization. And especially in HR, if in case you are a good TA person, talent acquisition person, you are good at HR BP business, like, business HR, and you are good in compensation, you are good in, like, engagement with the employees, all of this, and you are one person with all these qualities. Even in gig economy or in yesterday's economy, whatever it is, this is going to add up a huge value, right? Multi-skilling. So I'm sure, like, this would be the new mantra also, that you know a lot of things, and you can wear multiple hats, and, like, work like a specialist on each of the field.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, Pranab has a question. Pranab.
Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, my question is more towards the kind of mentoring and onboarding activities which actually takes place in an office kind of a setting. In an office, collaboration can happen pretty easily because people can walk up to someone's desk and things can go about in that fashion. However, when we are working remotely, this concept of virtual water cooler is coming up, wherein the team actually meets over a virtual platform to discuss sort of out of work issues and maybe issues which directly does not relate to the deliverables. So what is GoIbibo actually going, what kind of strategy is GoIbibo going in this sector, as to creating a sort of online collaboration and a sort of virtual water cooler kind of scenario?
This is you meant for freshers who are joining us, or new joinees, or people who are already with us?
So, ma'am, mentoring and grooming of a person actually, what I felt was is of more necessary when a when a person joins a team newly, or he has actually switched roles, wherein he needs a kind of mentorship as well. So I'm referring in that topic.
Agree. Okay, so initially there was a lot of apprehension for a lot of corporates, like, to find a, to make sure whether we are going to have these people onboarded virtually, right? But as the pandemic started, like, increasing, and we just thought next 1 or 2 quarter we are not going to physically be present in the company. So the company started taking calls that they have to onboard people virtually. Well, from GoIbibo scenario, we started. So our preparation starts from the day we make the offer. So we have a strong candidate engagement for next 30 to 60 days. If the person is joining within 30 days, then we have a regular touch base with the candidate, wherein we send them, like, bouquets, we send them mailers, we send them newsletters, what is going on in their particular vertical, and the managers talk to them, the HR business partners talk to them, the recruiters talk to them. And 30 to 60 days is totally, they get engaged with us, so that there is no scouting around and they don't look for any other better offers, right? And this time what happened was, like, it went into the next level, where after they join us also, we are again, like, virtually talking to them. So what we did was, we had a buddy which we created, and the buddy was regularly talking to the person whoever joined us. And the first day, third day, fifth day, seventh day, we used to have team meetings, where they are meeting each of the team members, they're understanding the composition, temperament, the DNA, the culture of their teams, their managers. And also the families are introduced, like, the person who joins us, their families are introduced to, like, if in case they're staying with their parents and everything, just to bring in, like, the family touch also. The families are introduced to the managers and the entire team. And with all these things, they kind of started getting acquainted with the teams, right? Like, you obviously, like, there is every day there's a stand up at morning 10 o'clock and 1 hour, and you get to know what is going on in the company, and all of this. And also there is a regular town hall meets from senior folks, wherein they also tell what is going on in the company, and what is the new changes, what has come up, and what is that in future, what is that they can expect, and what are the new diversified business what the company is getting into. So these are all the lot of things to make sure that, like, you kind of comfort the person who has joined you newly, right? And would not think about infant attrition kind of a thing. So these are a few things which we have done. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am, Kriti has the next question. Kriti, can go ahead.
My question is, how is performance management being taken care in this pandemic scenario? Because if it is completely being result based, then there are certain days in a corporate setting where we are not, we might not be productive in the case, in the sense of results. So if you can please shed some light on that.
Nothing I could hear. Sorry. From the time you started.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can.
Yeah, ma'am, my question is that how is performance management being taken care in this COVID pandemic scenario? Because if it is only based on results, then there are certain days when we are not uh, probably productive, or when we are not delivering results. I mean, there are certain days where we're just looking at the information or upskilling. So how is that being taken care in this scenario?
So there is two things in this, when you ask, because I feel throwing a bit of light on the real performance management, of the yearly, what we do, right? So in a lot of companies, what they have done is, the first part of it, let me answer. What they have done is, they have not converted the impact into financial gains, right? So they might have given a promotion, which actually makes people to feel really great, and have told probably after 2 or 3 quarters, the financial gains will also come to you. That is one part of it, so that people still believe in the company and feel good about their performance. And there is a lot of mailers which has gone to them about appreciating their works, and a lot of rewards have been given, or e-cards, kudos card, all of that, right? And the second part, what you were asking is probably how a person, how metrics has been created. So meaningful goal settings have been created over here, right? Obviously the key to manage remote teams successfully is meaningful goal settings. Set clear deliverables, right, with specific metrics that will enable them to track outcomes and measure result effectively. And there are times we can't tell that a person worked 10 hours today or 12 hours today. It can waver. There are times where people are working for about 14 15 hours a day, or maybe in a day some days where it goes down to 4 to 5 hours also, because the situations are like that, right? And it is not necessary that they're not working on Saturday Sunday also. So this entire thing is summing up, and if you look at it, probably going to an office would have yielded 90% result, but today it's looking at looking at the entire effort put in by employees, it's kind of reaching 110 to 120% of effort which can be seen. So overall, we can't sit and probably measure exactly these are the things what has happened, but yeah, there is a good effort which is going on overall.
Thank you.
So we have one question from Iti. Iti, you can go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
Am I audible?
Kind of, yeah.
Hi. So ma'am, within learning and development, there are several functions like career development, professional development, leadership development, and training. So what can be the best practices that students can apply, or how can they prioritize within these several functions during this current scenario? And also there's also a lot of information overload nowadays. So we are getting information from several directions, several websites. So how can we streamline all our efforts and not get confused by this rationality that we have, a bounded sort of rationality?
Can you repeat your first question? The second one I could hear. The first question, I don't know, it's little not so clear. The first question I could not hear.
Okay, sure, ma'am. So ma'am, within learning and development, there can be several functions like career and professional development, leadership development, training, etc. So as a student, how can I prioritize among these things, and what can be the best practices for me to enhance these skill sets?
Okay. So let me take the second part of it. So there is too much of confusion and too much overload of information, right? At this point, everybody would like to tell, do this, do that, and like, internet is also busting with so much of information and other things. If you have like, probably followed the presentation, what I took you through, please make sure that whatever you are good at, whatever you feel is your like, is your forte. For example, you have a technology background, make sure that like, you add up more degrees to that, more online like, courses to that, to enhance those skills. Probably that is one of the like, very important guideline what I would tell you, rather than like, going and getting disturbed with too many things, and like, getting into too many things which can probably not yield as much impact as what it needs to be done, right? So look at what is your forte and then probably go behind it. And today the industry, what it is looking at is surely the leadership skills. Probably in training, like, you can look at the leadership skills which are this one, and also the emotional and the psychological behavior of employees. If you come from a HR background, or you want to get into the HR background, so like, the emotional intelligence is something which you can surely look at and like, actually like practice. And also the leadership training also is a very huge thing which like, which is taking the because there is a lot of families are getting merged, job families are getting merged, and like, the juniors are looking at the next leap, right? And the companies are also giving a lot of importance to that. So leadership also can be like a very important thing. Problem solving, another one, and analytical skills, and also emotional intelligence. These are few things which are trending in like, training and development. Probably you can look at all these things if you want to major in that, or look at training as one of your important aspect. Right? I
Thank
hope
you, ma'am.
this answers.
Yeah, yes, sure.
Ma'am, we will take the last question from Ashwin. Ashwin, you can go ahead.
Hi, Ashwin.
Yeah. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, you as you have said that people are having some frustrations of their job because of reduced or physical interactions. Also, due to some, in my opinion, due to job insecurities, people are overworking themselves in their work from home. I mean, they are working 9 to 5 in the regular office, and especially in IT sectors, if their clients are abroad in US or Europe, so they are again working at night also. So how do you, how in your opinion, how should the companies, stabilize or handle this situation where people will be working with their clients and the company as per Indian timings as well?
So you mean to the time zone ones, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, yeah, see, there is surely overall, like, there is a huge, the employees are also feeling like, how tomorrow, what is the situation going to be, right? So there is one thing is communication. There is a strong communication which is going from organization, from leadership teams, from the seniors, from their team leads, from their managers to the employees, making sure, comforting them, telling them that like, there is no issues to be disturbed and they can continue with the work what they are doing. So that is one thing what is being done from all the industries, the communication which is getting very strong, and over communicating to the employees, making sure that they are not feeling that insecurity, right? And second thing is the perks continue. Whatever perks yesterday was given to them, it still continues. The salaries are coming regularly to them, right? The appraisal cycle is normal. Probably like, not the financial impact, but like, there is promotions which is going on regularly, and like there are a lot of appreciations which are being given to the employees. And the last but not the least, there is a different rewards and recognition programs which has been introduced because of this work from home. Yesterday it was physical, so you can probably give out a trophy or give out some kind of a physical gift to a person. But today companies have introduced virtual rewards and recognition to the employees, where you have, as I told you, like appreciation mails, or month impact creator for the month or the week, or emails appreciation sending to the employees, or having meetings, Zoom calls, and appreciating them in front of their families or in front of other business verticals and other things. So with all these things, there is a strong you are giving them a feeling of content, telling that there is no issues, your jobs are secure, please continue with the work or the hard work what you are putting in. Maybe there person who is working 5 hours yesterday is working 10 hours today, right? But the job requires it, the industry requires it at this point, because every single person has to put in multiple hats today and work. So with all these things, there is a strong a feeling for an employee that he is safe and secured, and he can probably work more satisfactorily or comfortably. I hope I answered this.
Yeah, ma'am, I have actually follow up on this. Since work from home, currently people are, in some cases, people are working 14 to 15 hours. As everybody gets acclimatized and normalized to this norm, do you think in the upcoming months, say in the next, by the end of next quarter, maybe people will normalize their working times on a daily basis to, let's say, 10 hours a day instead of a fluctuating 14, 15 and 5 hours a day to maintain a work-life balance?
It's very it's pretty subjective. So it depends on different industries, and depends on different job families, right? If in case it's a time zone, then probably they have to work 14, 15 hours. It continues, or probably if this becomes a new norm, right? Next 1 quarter or 2 quarters, obviously people might get fagged off. So maybe it will come back to normalcy. But yeah, again, it's very specific to each industries.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I think with this, we come to an end to this session. So thank you so much for giving us so much of practical wisdom, things we will take with us as professionals, who will be joining industry in some time, especially the things on what skills we need to work on, how to upskill, reskill, and the sort of sectors we should be looking at. So thank you so much for giving us all of these relevant knowledge and taking out time on your weekend. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.